everybody. Hello. So we had a great time in Iowa. Very successful. A lot of people. I think they enjoyed it. But it's been a great state for me. We won it all 3 times. And very special. Tomorrow's going to be great. We're going to have the B-2s flying, and we had Christie, the whole group, including a lot of great congressmen. We have everybody. And we have Doug Burgum. Do you have any questions? Brooke Rollins, agriculture. If you have any questions, let us know. But we all had a great time in Iowa.
President, has Hamas agreed to the latest framework for a ceasefire and hostage deal?
We'll see what happens. We're going to know over the next 24 hours.
Mr. President, you had the best border numbers in the month of June in the country's history. Now with the One Big Beautiful Bill being signed by you, set the bar so high when it comes to border security. What is the expectation moving forward, sir?
I love this guy. I love him. He's like my favorite person. We just want to see if we can keep going up. We had great numbers. I appreciate you saying it. We have had, but we just want to keep them going up, right?
That's right.
That's all we can do.
Mr. President, you talked about farmers and trying to give them some relief. Can you talk a little bit more specifically about you mentioned
I'll let my agricultural genius talk about it.
Thank you, sir. Yes, we have been hard at work. The president gave a directive that the farmers needed to make sure they could farm and do their harvests and milk their cows. So Stephen Miller, myself, the top team in the White House has been working on, including Secretary Noem, including Secretary Chavez-Sherrimer, on the H-2A streamline, the current visa system that allows seasonal workers in. So we are hard at work. We've already made some changes. We're going to make it cheaper, more efficient, and more effective for those farmers. We will have a 100% legal workforce very, very soon, thanks to President Trump's leadership.
Mr. President.
Good answer, right?
Mr. President.
Yes.
We're 10 days away from the anniversary of your assassination attempt. Do you know any more now about the assassination attempt than you knew then?
Well, the FBI was in the other day with a lot of people, including the Attorney General, who's doing a great job, Pam Bondi. I'm very satisfied. They gave me a complete presentation. I was very satisfied.
There's a report that you held a secret meeting today with a Saudi official. Are you any closer on expanding the Abraham Accords? Any news from that
we
meeting?
are. It's one of the things we talked about, the Abraham Accords. Now that Iran has been taken out in terms of a nuclear threat, and they have been completely taken out, at least for a very long time, I think a lot of people are going to be joining the Abraham Accords. We have 4 great countries already, but we're going to have a lot of people, I think, joining the Abraham Accords.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Some polls have shown the Big Beautiful Bill to not be very popular. I'm wondering, how confident are you in being able to sell it to the American people?
Yeah, I think it's very popular. It does many things, but one of them is the biggest tax cuts in our country's history. And that alone makes it very popular. The only poll that was done was a Democrat poll, and they'll ask 2 of the little bit controversial things, but good things for the country. The tax cuts alone. So it's the largest tax cut in the history of our country. And that alone makes it very, very popular.
Mr. President, can you talk a little bit about your expectations for the celebration next year? Obviously, a bit of a preview tonight. You talked about the Patriot games. You highlighted a possible UFC title fight at the White House. Right. What are your expectations for the celebration next year, sir?
Well, I think it's going to be a great celebration. It's going to be as big a celebration as we've ever had. And remember, we have the World Cup and we have the Olympics also. So we have that, plus we have 250. I think it's going to be a wild time. It's going to be a great time for this country. It's going to be the golden age. Thank you.
What's next for Russia and Ukraine? Are you speaking to Zelensky tomorrow? And what are you hoping the next?
I'm speaking to President Zelensky tomorrow, early in the morning. And, I'm very disappointed with the conversation I had today with President Putin, because I don't think he's there.
Can you share more about
I'm very disappointed. Well, it's not, I'm just saying, I don't think he's looking to stop. And that's too bad. This is Biden. This isn't me. This is Biden's war. It wouldn't have happened if I were president. It wouldn't have happened. So, I in one way, I had to get too involved because it's Biden's war. and I got stuck in the middle of it, just like I did with immigration and a lot of other things that they screwed up. But I was not happy with the conversation. No.
Mr. President, a couple weeks ago, you said that you were on the cusp of a historic settlement with Harvard University. What's changed since then? Do you think you're closer to an agreement, or do you think Columbia?
No, nothing. I think we're going to probably settle with Harvard. We're going to probably settle with Columbia. They want to settle very badly.
How much?
There's no rush. A lot of money.
Mr. President, I wanted to ask you about one of the words you used during your speech, Shylocks, that's widely viewed as an anti-Semitic phrase. Do you intend for that word to be used that
No,
way?
I've never heard it that way. To me, Shylock is somebody that's a money lender at high rates. I've never heard it that way. You view it differently than me. I've never heard that. Anything
Mr.
else?
President, what do you make of the deal that your lawyers struck with CBS's parent company? Can you talk about that? And have you had any conversations with Larry Ellison about expectations you might have for Skydance and PSAs that they would run should they take over Paramount?
Well, Larry Ellison's a friend of mine. He's a great guy. I think he's the buyer. But we did a deal for about $16 million plus $16 million or maybe more than that in advertising. So it's a combination of 16 plus 16 plus. So it's like 32 to maybe $35 million. I think that what they did, this has nothing to do with Larry Ellison. I think he's going to run CBS really well. And I think he's making a good deal to buy it. I think he's great. He's got a son who's a fantastic young man, too. But what they did was incredible. They took an answer from Kamala just before, the day before the election, and it was a horrible answer. And they took the answer out in its entirety, and they put another answer in, a different answer. That was a different part of the interview, because the answer she gave was so bad, it was like election threatening. And I've seen it all, but I've never seen that. Nobody has. And we understand that was done in other locations also with respect to answers. But think of it. One of the most important question, maybe the most important question, she gave a horrible answer to it. So they took an answer from another part of the interview and they inserted it. Nobody's ever seen that before. So I think they made a wise decision to settle.
And is that $16 million for the ads? Is that part of contingency for your administration to approve the merger or the sale of the company?
No, it has nothing to do with that. This is totally separate. This was when I was running. This had nothing to do with what was taking place in government. This is when I was running. This was essentially the night before the election. And they did this, and we thought it was despicable, actually.
Mr. President, Sarah, for countries that don't get a letter right away and that you haven't made a deal
Well,
with,
we're going to start sending letters out to various countries starting tomorrow. We'll probably have 10 or 12 go out.